They came in silence, an empire of countless worlds stretching its dominion farther than the eye of any telescope could dream to see. An empire so ancient and vast that it no longer remembered the first war that had forged it, nor the first stars it had conquered. To the empire, all things beyond its banners were destined to fall, as surely as the dark follows sunset, and when the maps of the empire's conquests showed a small blue star called Sol, it was marked with the same certainty as 1,000 others before it. A star to be claimed, a people to be bent, a system to be broken into obedience, for the empire had never once been turned away. Yet when their armada arrived at the edges of Sol, their expectation of swift triumph met only a silence deeper than the void itself, for the empire's scouts found no fleets in orbit, no lines of defense, no planetary bastions bristling with weapons, and for the first time in centuries, the commanders of the empire's vanguard wondered if perhaps they had been deceived, if perhaps humanity was too weak to even present the illusion of resistance, and laughter echoed across their command decks as they read the emptiness as cowardice, as ignorance as an invitation to strike without hesitation. But then the void stirred, and from that silence came a presence they could neither anticipate nor comprehend. A single vessel emerged, not from warp nor from the twisting mouths of wormholes, but as if it had simply always been there, waiting, concealed in shadows beyond technology, and it revealed itself at last. A white ship that gleamed like a shard of light carved from the bones of a dying star, engines glowing with an unearthly azure that spread across the blackness like fire spilled into night. And though it was small in their eyes, smaller than their dreadnoughts, smaller than their carriers that had burned planets, something about its silence, its singularity, its undeniable confidence made even the seasoned admirals of the empire pause. Still, arrogance ran deeper than instinct, and arrogance shouted louder than fear. And so the order was given. A squadron of warships advanced, their hulls armored with centuries of victory, their crews already envisioning medals and honors for being the first to crush humanity's defiance. And as they moved, they broadcast words of scorn and threats of annihilation, certain that the tiny craft would flee, surrender or crumble beneath their fire. Yet no words came back from the ghostly vessel. No signals, no pleas, no threats, only the silence heavy and unbroken like the hush before a storm. Then came the first strike, swift and merciless. The alien squadron's sensors flared with impossible readings, their shields buckling under beams of energy that seemed to pierce the very fabric of matter itself, cutting hulls open as though they were paper, spilling crews into the void with no chance to scream. Torpedoes followed, not in waves of brute force as the Empire was accustomed to, but with surgical precision, each one finding engines, reactors, weak points known only to an intelligence that had studied war not as conquest, but as necessity. In minutes the squadron was gone, erased, their signals silenced as quickly as they had been sent, and the laughter of Empire commanders turned to shouts of disbelief, then to uneasy murmurs of questions none dared voice aloud. What was this ship? What hand had forged it, and why did it fight with such terrible mastery? The flagship demanded scans, demanded answers, and what the data revealed chilled even their iron-blooded hearts. This was no prototype rushed into war, no desperate gamble of a primitive people. This was refinement. This was precision born of generations of conflict. This was the culmination of a history unlike any the Empire had ever crushed. For the Empire had known war only as conquest, victories stacking upon victories until their fleets moved like inevitability itself. But humanity had known war as survival, not across centuries but across millennia, warring with itself in cycles of fire and rebirth, creating weapons not to dominate the stars but to endure their own endless storms of blood. Humanity had forged this vessel not in triumph but in desperation, hammered into perfection by hands that refused to die, and the Empire realized, too late, the depth of what they had awakened. Legends whispered among humanity's own descendants of a ship known by many names. Some called it the Warden, others the Arcblade, others only the Ghost of Earth, for it carried within its heart the weight of every war humanity had fought, a memory of every battlefield, a shard of every weapon refined until only the purest essence remained, and it moved not as one ship, but as the embodiment of a species that had clawed its way from mud and ruin into the stars. And so the Ghost advanced, slow and inexorable, drifting through the wreckage it had made, its white hull unmarked, its engines burning brighter, while the Empire's admirals found themselves staring not at an enemy, but at a reflection of all they had forgotten: fear. They launched more fleets, carrier wings of hundreds, dreadnought lines that stretched across orbits, thinking numbers would drown this phantom. But the void itself seemed to conspire in the human vessel's favor, for it vanished into clouds of sensor static, appeared at angles faster than thought, its strikes unfolding like inevitability, each volley a lesson in the futility of arrogance. A captain of the Empire, voice shaking though he had fought 100 wars, whispered to his crew, "It fights like it has already killed us." And perhaps it had. For humanity did not come seeking conquest. Humanity did not come offering negotiation. Humanity's first word to the Empire was fire. Its first message a warning written in wreckage and ruin. We survived ourselves, and we will survive you. As the Empire's armada burned, the commanders realized this was not a battle but a revelation. And they understood at last what the ship truly was. Not merely a warship, but a warning. The last warning they would ever be given. For behind this vessel lay not a fragile world waiting to be broken, but a planet that had endured ice ages and empires, plagues and apocalypses, and had emerged sharper with every scar. Humanity had not built the ship for glory nor for conquest. They had built it for the oldest reason of all, to endure, to ensure that no matter what came screaming from the dark, they would not fall. And so as the white warship closed the distance, slipping silently through burning debris, the Empire at last saw what had eluded them for centuries of conquest. That survival, when forged into steel and fire, is stronger than any crown, stronger than any armada, stronger than fear itself, and that the first contact with humanity would not be diplomacy, nor surrender, nor even terror, but the final echo of an empire's arrogance, drowned in silence by the ghost of Earth.